The air in the hangar was cold and smelled of fuel and ozone. Leo Cruz stood very still. He felt small. Round him, hundreds of other cadets stood in perfect lines. Their armor was smooth and shiny. His own gear was old and gray. They were from the core worlds. He was from a fringe colony no one had heard of. He kept his eyes forward. A man walked onto the high platform. He wore a black uniform with no decorations. His face was hard. This was Commander Vance. "Welcome to the Citadel," Vance said. His voice was flat, carried through the huge space without effort. "You are here because the war is failing, or the fracture faction is winning. You are the solution, or you are the fuel we will burn to find one." No one moved. No one breathed too loud. "This is the Aegis program," Vance continued. "It is not a school. It is a filter. 9 out of 10 of you will break. You will be sent away, or you will die. The first test begins now." The floor beneath them shifted. Large panels slid open. The world fell away into a dark open space. Zero gravity took hold. Leo felt his stomach lurch as he floated upward. All around him, cadets tumbled in the sudden nothingness. Lights flashed. Automated drones, small and fast, shot into the chamber. Their guns glowed with blue energy. They were not set to stun. A cadet near Leo cried out. A blue bolt hit his chest. His suit went dark. He floated, limp. The test had started. It was live fire. Chaos took over. Cadets fired their own training weapons. The blue bolts bounced off the drone armor. The drones were too quick. They moved in a pattern. Leo watched them. He saw it. A rhythm. They weaved through floating debris from old ships. He did not fire his gun. He pushed off a broken beam. He floated toward a cluster of wreckage. A drone followed him, its gun charging. Leo waited. At the last second, he kicked a piece of loose plating. It spun into the drone's path. The blue bolt hit the metal instead of him. The drone adjusted. Leo was ready. He fired a single shot. It was not at the drone's body. It was at the small, glowing repulsor on its side. The bolt connected. The repulsor sparked and died. The drone spun out of control, crashing into another. He moved like this through the test. He used the environment. He was not the strongest or the fastest, but he saw things. He predicted the shots. He used the chaos as his weapon. An alarm blared. The test was over. The zero gravity faded. The floor rose to meet them. Leo landed on his feet, his knees bending to absorb the impact. Only 7 other cadets stood in the vast hangar. The rest were gone, defeated. Commander Vance looked down from his platform. His eyes scanned the survivors. They stopped on Leo. The top performer in this exercise, Vance announced, will receive a field commission. He will skip 6 months of training. He will go to the front immediately. A screen lit up behind him, showed a name and a score. The name was Leo Cruz. A few cadets glanced at him. Their faces were unreadable. Vance walked down from the platform. His boots echoed on the metal floor. He stopped in front of Leo. He was close. Leo could see the scars on his face. "That was a good trick," Vance said, his voice low. "But we test for luck here too." Vance tapped a command into the device on his wrist. A deafening roar filled the hangar. A violent wind pulled at Leo. The main hangar doors, massive and thick, began to open directly behind him. The air screamed as it rushed out into the void. Leo had no time to react. The wind grabbed him and threw him backward. He was yanked off his feet and sucked out of the open doors into the silent, star-filled blackness of space. The silence was absolute. Leo spun, end over end, the giant hangar bay shrinking into a small, bright rectangle behind him. The only sound was his own ragged breathing and the frantic beat of his heart in his ears. A red light flashed on his helmet display. Oxygen. 60 seconds. He fought down the panic. His training suit had sealed, but it was a basic model. It was not made for a spacewalk. He clawed at the air, trying to stop his spin. In the distance, he saw the war. Silent flashes of light marked where ships died. The fracture fleet, a swarm of jagged, dark vessels, moved against the cleaner lines of the Commonwealth ships. It was a brutal, silent dance. His right thruster pack sputtered. It was damaged. He fumbled for the manual control on his wrist. He tapped a short burst. The world tilted. He was still spinning, but slower now. He had to find shelter. He saw it. A derelict scout ship tumbled slowly a few hundred meters away. It was old. A hole was torn in its side. It was his only chance. He used another short, uneven burst from his thrusters. He pushed himself toward the wreck. He moved too fast. He was going to smash into it. He twisted his body at the last second. He crashed through the shattered viewport of the cockpit, his shoulder hitting a broken console with a jarring thud he felt but could not hear. He lay in the darkness for a second. The red oxygen warning was constant now. 30 seconds. The air in his suit tasted stale. He got to his knees. His mag boots clicked onto the deck, holding him fast. He was not alone. Voices, muffled by helmets, but close. He peered over a broken chair. 3 soldiers in fracture armor were in the corridor outside the cockpit. They were pulling a data core from a wall panel. Had not seen him. He was weaponless. His training pistol was gone, lost to the void. He had 30 seconds of air and 3 enemies. He moved back into the shadows. His hand closed around a piece of broken pipe. It was not much. He saw an emergency panel on the wall, a fire suppression lever. He waited. One of the soldiers stepped into the cockpit, his rifle raised. Leo slammed the lever down. Thick white chemical foam erupted from the ceiling. It filled the small space. The fracture soldier shouted in surprise, blinded. Leo moved, swung the pipe hard against the soldier's helmet. The faceplate cracked. The man gasped and fell. Leo grabbed the soldier's rifle. He felt its weight. It was real. He took the man's oxygen tank and hooked it to his own suit. The red warning light on his helmet turned green. He breathed deep. The other 2 soldiers were coming. He could hear their boots on the deck. He crouched low. The foam was clearing. Yes. He saw a shadow in the doorway. He fired. The rifle kicked in his hands. A bright energy bolt hit the soldier in the chest. He fell back. The last soldier was smarter. Stayed in the corridor using the wall for cover. He fired blind shots into the cockpit. Bolts of energy scorched the metal around Leo's head. Leo did not shoot back. He stayed quiet. He listened. Heard the soldier's heavy breathing over a short-range comms channel the dead man's suit was picking up. "Report, what is your status?" A voice crackled in Leo's ear. The soldier in the hall answered, "Resistance." One hostie, Leo did not let him finish. He spoke into the dead man's mic, his voice a low rasp. "Your name is Sam Peters. You're from Viridian 4. Your unit is the 7th Striker Battalion." There was a moment of pure silence from the hallway. A hesitation.
Ow.
The soldier was shocked. Leo used that second. He rolled out from his cover, rifle raised. The soldier was still looking at his own comms unit, confused. Leo fired once. The man dropped. Leo stood, his heart pounding. He moved to the data core the soldiers had been trying to take. It was still active. He pulled it from the wall. An emergency beacon on the console was blinking. He hit the button. A distress call. Help would come. A new signal cut over the beacon's channel. It was a clean, Commonwealth frequency, but the voice was cold and wrong. "Asset acquired," the voice said. "Scuttle the wreck." Leo looked out the broken viewport. Commonwealth frigate the Resolute had moved into position. Its long, heavy mass filled his view. A bright red targeting laser reached out from the frigate and painted a steady, unmoving dot directly on his chest. The targeting laser was a red eye staring at him. Leo stood frozen. He waited for the blast that would turn the wreck and him into dust. It did not come. After a long moment, the laser winked out. A new voice crackled over his helmet. "Come." It was a rescue shuttle. They docked with the derelict scout ship. Soldiers in clean Commonwealth armor pulled him out. They treated him with respect. They called him Sir. Back on the Resolute, it was like the hangar incident never happened. Commander Vance stood with other officers in a clean briefing room. He gave Leo a field commission. He pinned the rank badge to Leo's collar himself. The other officers clapped. Leo said nothing about the order to scuttle the wreck. He did not trust any of them. He was assigned to an Aegis squad. There was Kara, a woman with sharp eyes who never seemed to miss a detail. And Ben, a man who always had a tool in his hand and a joke on his lips. They were the best. Leo was the new piece, awkward and untested. Their mission was simple and deadly. The Fracture had a new flagship, the Oblivion. It carried a weapon that could crack a planet. Their squad was part of a small, fast strike team. They would board the Oblivion, would plant charges on its main reactor. They would break the Fracture's back. They studied the ship's schematics in a dark room lit by blue screens. The Oblivion was a monster. Its defenses were thick. Its reactor was a fortress. But Leo saw something. Zoomed in on the reactor shielding. The design was wrong. Cool and a primary coolant line ran too close to the outer hull. A single, precise hit there would cause a cascade failure. It was a stupid mistake. It looked like a door someone had left open on purpose. He waited until Ben and Kara were gone. He found Commander Vance alone in his office. The room was quiet. Vance was looking at a star map. "The reactor on the Oblivion," Leo said. "It has a flaw, a critical one." Vance did not look up. "The Fracture has top engineers. Do not make flaws." "This one is there," Leo insisted. He put a data chip on the desk. "It is too obvious. It looks planned." Vance finally turned. He picked up the chip. He looked at Leo. His face was calm. He smiled. It was a small, cold thing. "You are as good as they said," Vance stated. His voice was quiet. "But you are asking the wrong question. You wonder how the enemy could be so stupid. You should wonder why we need an enemy at all." Leo felt a coldness in his stomach. "The Fracture is not the enemy," Vance said. "It is our project. Our creation. What? The war is a tool. It unites the galaxy. It gives us purpose. It gives us control." Leo could not speak. The war, the deaths, all of it was a lie. "Your little adventure on the scout ship," Vance continued. "That was not in the script, but we adapted. We made you a hero. It was good for morale." He stood up. "But the script has no room for extras who read ahead." Vance tapped his wrist. The door to the office sealed shut with a heavy clang. A quiet hiss filled the room. A faint green gas began to pour from a vent near the ceiling. "Neurotoxin." Leo stumbled back, his hand going to his throat. Vance watched him through the transparent aluminum door, his expression blank. "The lesson ends now, cadet," Vance said. Leo's body fought the toxin, his vision blurred, his muscles screamed. He had grown up on a colony with thin air and industrial pollutants. His body was tougher than it looked. It was his only secret. He staggered to the door. He slammed his shoulder against it. It did not move. He drew his sidearm. He fired twice at the control panel. Sparks flew. The door slid open with a grinding sound. He fell into the corridor, gasping for clean air. Alarms blared. He had to move. He found Kara and Ben in a maintenance bay, checking their gear for the mission. Vance Leo choked out. "The war, it is a lie." He told them everything. The Fracture was a Commonwealth project. The Oblivion was a puppet. Their mission was just more theater. Ben's face went pale. He pulled out a small data pad. His fingers flew across the screen. No, he muttered. He looked up, his eyes wide with horror. He is right. The supply lines, the ship movements. It is all one system. It is a lie. They stood in silence. The weight of it crushed them. All the friends they had lost. It was for nothing. "We have to tell everyone," Leo said. Ben nodded. "The main comes array. We can hijack a shuttle, broadcast on all channels." It was treason. It was the only right thing left to do. They moved fast. They ran through the ship's lower decks. They avoided the main corridors. They reached the secondary hangar. A small, fast-comes shuttle sat on the launch pad. Their own squad was there. 6 Aegis soldiers. They had their orders. They raised their rifles. "Stand down," their squad leader barked. "You are all under arrest." "They are lying to you," Leo yelled back. "The war is fake." The squad leader did not listen. He fired a warning shot. The energy bolt scorched the deck at Leo's feet. Firefight exploded in the hangar. Bright bolts of light crisscrossed the space. Leo and his 2 friends ducked behind cargo crates. They were outnumbered. They were trapped. "I can get the shuttle door open," Ben shouted over the noise. "Cover me." Leo and Kara laid down a storm of fire. Ben broke from cover and ran for the shuttle. He was almost there. His hand reached for the access panel. A single shot rang out. It was not from the squad. Ben froze. A look of surprise crossed his face. He looked down at the smoking hole in his chest. He crumpled to the floor. Leo stared. He turned. Kara stood a few feet away. Her pistol was in her hand. Smoke curled from its barrel. Her face was cold and calm. "The Commonwealth is order," she said, her voice flat. "Chaos is the real enemy." She had been Vance's plant all along. She had listened to their plan. She had led them right into the trap. Leo looked from Ben's body to Kara's empty eyes. He had no cover, no way out. The rest of the squad moved in, their weapons aimed at his heart. Leo's hands were bound. 2 soldiers dragged him onto the bridge of the Resolute. The large view screen showed the battle. The Commonwealth fleet moved in a perfect, beautiful formation. The Fracture flagship, the Oblivion, waited for them. It was all a stage. Commander Vance stood with his hands behind his back. He watched the show. Kara stood beside him, her face blank. "Bring him here," Vance said without turning. The soldiers shoved Leo forward, stood next to Vance looking at the screen. Ships exploded in silent, bright flowers of light. Lives were spent like coins. "Look at it," Vance said. His voice was calm. "This is the art of war, not your messy little brawls. This is control. You have talent, Leo, but you are sentimental. You care about the truth. Victory requires the annihilation of inconvenient truths." On the screen, the Oblivion began to power up its main weapon. A deep red glow built at its core. "Right on schedule," Vance murmured. "It will fire on that small moon, a devastating blow. The galaxy will rally to us in fear." But the red glow did not point at the moon. The massive weapon slowly turned. It adjusted its aim. It pointed directly at the Resolute. Kara looked up from her console. Her calm broke. "Sir, they're not following the script. They are locking on to us." Vance's head snapped around. "What?" On the Oblivion's bridge, their puppet masters had cut the strings. Leo saw his chance. It was now or never. He did not go for a soldier's weapon. He lunged for the main communications station. The officer there tried to stop him. Leo shoved him aside with his shoulder. His bound hands slapped down on the console. He typed one code. It was the authentication sequence he had pulled from the derelict scout ship's data core. Vance's own personal override. Oh. He sent it. Fleet-wide. For 3 seconds, every targeting computer in the Commonwealth fleet reset. The signal told them 2 things. That the Oblivion and the Resolute were both hostile command ships. That they were the primary threats. The perfect formation shattered. The fleet's own automated systems, following their core programming, opened fire, not just on the Oblivion, but on the Resolute too. Alarms screamed across the bridge. The whole ship shook as the first volley hit its shields. Vance stared at the view screen in pure horror. His perfect plan was tearing itself apart. His own fleet was shooting at him. Leo stood straight, his hands still bound. He looked at Vance's stunned face. "The lesson is over," Leo said. The bridge shook again. The console exploded behind them. The lights flickered. Through the view screen, they saw the Oblivion's main weapon fire. Thick beam of red energy, bright enough to burn stars, shot across the dark. It was not aimed at the Resolute. It was aimed at the heart of the Commonwealth fleet. The Fracture was fighting back for real. The war was no longer a game.